You've put a question to me. Well, I have a question for you. What if this remedy had been discovered by a European country instead of Madagascar? Would people doubt it so much? I don't think so. I can tell you that those Malagasy patients who have received the remedy, whether you call it Tembavi-CVO or COVID Organics, these patients are all the proof you need that it works.
Well, on this point,
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy NAPPIE, and welcome to my channel. It's going to be a real quick one. I hope you guys are doing an amazing job by staying home and staying safe. So today we're going to talk about Madagascar. Madagascar has made a cure for COVID-19, and the Western world is doubting him. They took him on TV, asking him so many questions, whether he brought in their whatever. I don't know what they're talking about. Let's just go and watch this video. It's so fun. Like, if you don't want this medicine, if you don't approve it, why ask so many questions? This is Africa, and we are taking our own precautions. So leave us to do whatever we want to do. When China came out with chloroquine, the world didn't ask China why they are using this chloroquine to cure the COVID-19. But Madagascar, since it's an African country and it's curing people with its own drug, the world is coming to ask questions because it's an African country. If you don't like it, why do you come for it? Don't come for it. You don't need it, so don't come for it. This is so simple. Let's just go ahead and go and watch this video real quick and come back soon. He is so intelligent. They went ahead asking him questions like, do you think this is curable? Do you think it's going to help your people? If you don't like it, please don't ask questions. Don't come for it. This is so simple. Why'd you bring him on TV asking him so many questions? And the one thing they asked him and he answered so correctly and intelligently was, what did he say? What was the question? Who are those attacking you? He said no one can attack him. Not even an organization, not even a country. That's what he said. Let's just go and watch the video and be back real quick. Thank you so much for watching this episode. This is Africa. I'm proud of my continent, and I'm going to live here, stay here, be whatever.
Madagascar has set itself apart by its use of COVID Organics, a remedy based on Artemisia, a plant with proven therapeutic effects in the fight against malaria. You've already sent it to a number of African countries, but do you have proof in Madagascar that this treatment works, that it has actually cured people suffering from COVID-19?
Well, we have indeed introduced this remedy, which contains Malagasy medicinal plants. This is something that we are used to in Madagascar. 80% of the population uses herbal remedies. This being said, COVID Organics is, needless to say, a preventive and curative remedy against COVID-19. It works really well, and it is the result of research carried out by the Malagasy Institute of Applied Research, which has the status of a regional research center as part of the African Union organization. I would like to clarify that IMRA is a medical, pharmaceutical, and training center created in 1957 by Professor Ratsimamanga, an emeritus African scientist. You mentioned evidence. Earlier, I said we are at war. As you well know, the global death toll from COVID is nearly 300,000. Can we really afford to disregard a potential treatment, particularly in times of war? What evidence can we provide at this point? Well, our patients are healing. Out of 171 infections in Madagascar, as many as 105 have healed. That's a majority of COVID-19 patients who have healed. You mentioned evidence. What I can tell you is that the patients that have healed have taken no other product than COVID Organics. To summarize, we are seeing a clear improvement in the health of patients treated with this remedy called Tembavi CVR, and this only 24 hours after the remedy was first administered. The patients are found to heal 7 to 10 days after receiving the remedy. It is a natural remedy, a non-toxic and non-invasive remedy.
Nevertheless, Mr. President, not everyone is convinced by the evidence that you're talking about. And it's not just anyone who's skeptical. The African Union, ECOWAS, and especially the WHO, the WHO's Africa office, have in the past few days repeatedly warned against the illusion of a miracle cure. Not only does the WHO have doubts as to the effectiveness of COVID Organics, but it is also worried about the possible side effects for those who take this tonic.
Well, you are referring to Dr. Moetzi's warning against the use of COVID Organics. I have a question for you. Wasn't there another medication called Mediator that received all of the necessary marketing authorizations? My question for you is, how many people did Mediator kill? You're all familiar with the statement by Professors Bernard Debré and Philip Even. These professors introduced over 58 medications manufactured by prestigious laboratories. And according to them, not only do these drugs have zero healing effect, but they're also dangerous, if not lethal. These drugs have been and are being marketed in Africa, and I have never heard Dr. Moetzi or WHO issue statements banning the use of these drugs. This being said, we use a tonic, a decoction. In other words, we brew medicinal herbs in boiling water in order to extract the active ingredients. That's our traditional medicine. It is famous and recognized because it works. There's a lot of talk about Artemisia with this remedy. You've put a question to me. Well, I have a question for you. What if this remedy had been discovered by a European country instead of Madagascar? Would people doubt it so much? I don't think so. I can tell you that those Malagasy patients who have received the remedy, whether you call it Tembavi CVO or COVID Organics, these patients are all the proof you need that it works.
Well, on this point, let's take France's example. The National Drug Safety Agency very recently published a warning against buying Artemisia-based products, stating that their therapeutic properties are, and I quote this agency, false and dangerous. Do you get the impression that these doubts or these suspicions of, let's say it plainly, quackery come from Western countries or maybe Western pharmaceutical lobbies?
You may have heard or seen the statement by Professor Montagnier. After all, he was the recipient of the Nobel Prize in Science of Medicine. And according to him, Artemisia is a way to cure the coronavirus. So that's one thing. And you may have also seen the research by Professor Tu Youyou in China. Professor Tu Youyou has been able to extract artemisinin from Artemisia. So I don't get it. Why so many questions? Why all this trouble? The problem with COVID organics is not the formulation. We're not talking clinical studies that pretended not to know. People are bad-mouthing this product, Tambavi CVO, yet all it does is save lives. It's a good thing. In this battle, they are trying to slow us down. They're trying to discourage us, stop us even from moving forward.
Who are you referring to, Mr. President?
Well, no one will stop us from moving forward, not a country, not an organization. Who am I referring to? Well, you refer to a number of organizations, including the World Health Organizations. Well, we, in Madagascar, have our own tonic. We are a sovereign country. We seek to help our people not become victims of the pandemic.
Well, quite simply, what everyone is asking for is the clinical trials. You cited IMRA, the Malagasy Institute of Applied Research, but for the time being, this institute has only carried out clinical observations and not clinical trials. So when will they be carried out, and who will carry these trials out?
Clinical trials and clinical observations are two different things. When it comes to Tambavi CVO, the status of Tambavi CVO is that of an enhanced traditional remedy, which warrants a validation system that is different than that of a drug. We are not conducting clinical trials, but rather clinical observations in line with guidelines from WHO. So we have conducted these clinical observations. There's a study protocol to observe the impact of the remedy on the state of health of COVID patients. We have fully complied with universally recognized standards of ethics for clinical research and studies.
But last Thursday you announced that clinical tests were soon going to be carried out. Is this no longer the case?
Now, there are two different aspects. Let's not mistake one for the other. Several protocols have been set up. Firstly, like every other country in the world that is fighting the pandemic, we are under pressure to find a treatment for our patients. And when Professor Raoult made an announcement saying hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin worked, we used the treatment he recommended, and for that, I wish to thank him. Without the solution he proposed, we would not have been able to save the first victims of the coronavirus. This being said, we all know that high-dose administration of both drugs produces side effects and adverse effects. This treatment presented risks of toxicity, which warrants greater clinical monitoring. Regarding the second protocol that we adopted, that protocol was for Tambavi CVO. I'm referring to the tonic or decoction that I referred to earlier. We follow the principles of clinical study and observation, as well as WHO guidelines. The vast majority of patients who were treated with this remedy are all of the proof you need that it works. No one has died in Madagascar. No one has died. All we have done is heal our patients. Earlier, you referred to clinical trials. Needless to say, we have a third protocol. I'm referring to a clinical trial on an injectable drug that is different than the remedy we are currently making available. This is part of scientific cooperation efforts at a regional level, as well as with physicians and scientists in the US and, needless to say, in the Indian Ocean.
The Malagasy Institute of Applied Research, which you mentioned earlier, won't reveal the exact ingredients of COVID organics because one imagines that this institute doesn't want to be overtaken by a competitor before it can secure a patent. But many Malagasis from the country's interior don't have access to this cure, so that they can produce it themselves and protect themselves. Can you tell us, other than Artemisia, what are the two other plants that make up COVID organics?
Needless to say, COVID organics is mostly made up of medicinal plants, mostly Artemisia, to the tune of 62%. The remedy also contains other medicinal plants which are endemic to Madagascar. This information cannot be disclosed at this time. We are still awaiting results. And we will initiate clinical monitoring at a regional level. We have our own formulation, and as I said before, we are working together with the Malagasy Institute of Applied Research. And there is a product I would like to show you. It's called Medecasol, currently manufactured by Bayer. Bayer is a laboratory that makes 100 or so different medications. But this product is the result of research together with IMRA. This medication was developed in 1961. I'm simply trying to tell you that African and Malagasy scientists should not be underestimated. We are here. Questions abound, yes, but what is the problem with COVID organics? Really? Could it be that this product comes from Africa? Could it be that it's not okay for a country like Madagascar, which is the 63rd country, poorest country in the world, that it's not okay for such a poor country to have come up with Tambavi that can help save the world? Remember, we are at war. But in this war cannot be won by military might or economic power. It is God who gave us these medicinal plants to help our country and help the rest of the world.
This is Africa, and I'm proud of my continent. So please stay tuned. We're going to bring you more, and stay safe. If you're a new subscriber, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you're an old subscriber, thank you so much for staying tuned. And I'm going to catch you on the other side. Peace out.